need to get one of those tripods that have like a mirror on it, because like when I wear shirts with words on them, you guys probably would appreciate it if I recorded the way I'm recording now, and hopefully I'm in frame. Anyway, all I have to say is welcome to my chaotic mess. If you're new here, my name is Melissa, and if you haven't done what the heck, what am I saying? If you're new here, my name is Melissa. Yeah. Is that how I usually go? I haven't recorded in so long, guys. Actually, that's not true. I've actually made 2 non-book related videos that I still have yet to edit. They're coming, okay? I promise they are coming. But I wanted to go get a jump start on my books. I mean, we only have a week and 3 days left of the month, and I'm reading a book now that, what is it called? It's on the challenge list. I got so far ahead in my books for my goal. I am, hold on, let me go to my reading challenge. I am 9 books ahead of schedule for my reading challenge for the year. So far I've read 32 out of 50 books. So since I'm so far ahead, I've been working on monthly challenges, and so I'm reading a book from that list now. I read a Frida McFadden book before this one, which we'll talk about, and that was also in 2 of the reading challenges, so it counted for 2. That's how you beat the system. You find a book that's in multiple of them, and you beat multiple challenges at once. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm reading an academic affair, and I think it's just now about to get interesting, okay? I am 20% in, and I think it's just now about to get interesting. It's been slow, and like when I was still in the prelogue, the one before, yeah, the prologue. Anyway, I was still within that when I'm just sitting there going, I am about to DNF this book. Or DNR. No, DNF. It's DNF. Yeah, DNF. I'm about to DNF this book, okay? But I pulled through. I said, I gotta get at least to like the 3rd chapter before I can, decide anything. And I think it's about to start getting good. So, yeah. Anyway, on to books that I've read recently, and then I'll come back and catch you up on those ones. I'm trying to see. Okay, so we're finishing up with the Bailey brothers. I also looked up some tropes so I could kind of like relate to you younger people, if any younger people are watching this. But anyway, so Unraveling Him was the 3rd book. Yes, the 3rd book in the the Bailey brothers series. Sorry. Oh, okay. Anyway, so the 3rd book of the Bailey brothers series is called Unraveling Him, and it is kind of like Grumpy Sunshine, and yeah, that'd be the best way to describe it. Basically, second oldest brother Evan. I told you that I don't know if I told you this in the last one. So the Bailey brothers, there's 5 of them. There is Asher, which we read 2 books pertaining to him because he had gone to prison and so on, so they gave him 2 books. Asher, Grandma has names for all of them as well, little names. And anyway, Asher is Bear. Evan is, oh my God, Wolf. Sorry, I had to think. Evan is Wolf. Gavin, who's the youngest, is Otter. Levi is not Sphinx. What is that? I can't think of what he is. Not a lynx, like a lynx. Little, yeah, lynx. And why can't Logan is Raven. So they all have, Grandma is full-blooded Indian, like Native American Indian. And so I don't remember what tribe she's from, to be honest with you. That they mention it in like the first book and I don't remember. So anyway, Grandma, I'll just tell you a little about Grandma and then we'll get on with unraveling him so you kind of understand. Grandma is full-blooded Native American Indian who married a white man back in a time when that was unacceptable, and they just were meant to be together, and so they were together. And so Grandma has like an intuition, we'll say. Everyone thinks she's psychic, but she has an intuition where she kind of knows, and you kind of see it in the book, which the books themselves are kind of predictable, but I still enjoyed them a lot. But she kind of knows who they're going to marry. So like, for example, in one of the books, it says that Grandma doesn't give anyone else nicknames except for Grace, who is Asher's wife. But Grace has always had a nickname. She's always been Gracie Bear. And then later on, they realized that Gracie Bear's been Gracie Bear her whole life because Grandma knew her and Asher were going to be together. So anyway, so she has little names for all of the women they end up marrying, but she nicknames them before even the boys know that, you know, that is how they feel about this person. So anyway, back to Evan. Unraveling him. Also, again, the Bailey Brothers series is by Claire Kingsley. So Grumpy Sunshine is Evan. He is the grumpiest of the brothers. He gave up on love. He had a bad experience in college. He actually left college because of the experience, and he kind of just gave up on love altogether. He didn't want anything to do with it. So he kind of lives a little bit out of town. He still lives within their town. They live in a town called Tillamook. Tillamook? Is it Tillamook? Yeah, it's Tillamook, like the cheese. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I didn't even register that. Let me double check because that's going to bother me. I'm pretty sure it's Tillamook. Oh, Tillicum. Sorry, I knew it was Tilla something. Anyway, so they live in a little town called Tillicum, and he lives literally right outside of city limits, but still in the town. Okay, I don't know why I have to explain that to you. He owns a car garage where he restores classic cars. And anyway, he ends up getting sold a stolen car from this guy out in the Seattle area, and it's repossessed by the FBI because it's like an ongoing case. And so now he has no car to enter into this classic car show that he's trying to get, you know, his name out there so he can get more business. And anyway, so the daughter had come to, what is that? Sorry, my focus is so bad today. Okay, so the guy that sold him the stolen car and the daughter drove out to his garage because the dad wanted to kind of talk him into selling him a car that he knew was sitting in Evan's garage. And anyway, so long story short, he doesn't sell the car. They go back to Seattle. The scumbag and his daughter go back to Seattle, where then the daughter finds out her dad is still working for this criminal who he promised her that he would not work for anymore. And then she also found out at the same time that her dad was sleeping with her best friend. And so that kind of gave her like I'm done with everything sort of attitude. And so she packed up her stuff. She quit her job. She worked for her dad. And so she quit her job. And she was going to go out to Iowa. It's either Iowa or Idaho. I can't remember which one. I'm pretty sure it's Iowa. To live with her mom, even though she hadn't told her mom that was the plan. But her car needed some work. Her car was not the best. And so she went to Evan with a proposition to say, hey, if I help you find a car to restore for the car show, since my dad pretty much screwed you over, can I use your garage to fix my car? I don't need you to fix it for me. I know what I'm doing. I just need a space to work. And so they agreed. She helped him find a car. They went on a road trip to get it, so on and so forth. I'm trying not to give the whole story away. Anyway, so Fiona's her name, the daughter of the scumbag. And Evan found out that she was staying in her car because she couldn't afford to get a hotel room because she spent all her money fixing up her car. While she was fixing up the car, she was sleeping on his couch. But then when she finished, she said, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go. But she didn't actually leave. She just kind of like he had a lot of property. So she parked down in the tree line on his property because she knew she'd at least be safe on his property, or, she thought she would be safe on his property. And anyway, come to find out, he found out she was sleeping in her car, and he said, yep, nope, that's not happening, and moved her into his house. And anyway, long story short, they end up falling in love, blah, 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 blah. So that is unraveling him. The author note on here is a grouchy Brody loner meets an adorable badass who talks to her houseplants. That she is kind of quirky. She talks to plants and animals. She's just like the sweetest little thing, but she's like got tattoos, and like she kind of gives off like I don't want to say biker girl vibes, but because she's not like dressed in leather and stuff like that, but she gives off, I guess, car girl vibes. I don't know if that's even a thing, but she's like the quirkiest little thing there is. And so it says, it's the grumpy one is soft for the sunshine one with some engine revving twists. But anyway, so this one is on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. If you have Kindle Unlimited and you're like me and you try to read as many Kindle Unlimited books as possible because you don't want to waste your money on stuff. But, before we go to the next book, which is the next book in the series, we've discovered, and I know this is probably like old news to some people, but Justin and I have a shared Prime membership. And we discovered that if he buys a Kindle book on his account, it shows up in my Kindle library. And it's just the greatest thing ever, because like now all of that digital rewards that he gets from buying a whole bunch of stuff for work isn't going to waste because he can buy me books. That's so exciting. So usually, like the last book he bought me, I had him buy me Hush Hush because it's on my TBR. And I've been watching a lot of book reviews lately because, I don't know why. It's just something that's been interesting to me lately. It's like not necessarily book reviews themselves, but like book challenges and stuff. I've been watching a lot of those, although like I'm not up to those people's level. I shouldn't say that because I read 2 of these books in 3 days, which is odd for me, but I did just read a Frida McFadden book in a day, so I guess I can't really say much. This one, The Academic Affair that I'm currently reading, it took off so slow, and normally they don't take off that slow for me, and it just is weird. Anyway, the next one is Chasing Her Fire. It's book number, wait, is that it? No, that's not it. We skipped one. The next one is Rushing In. And this is book 4 in the series. And this one is on the youngest brother, Gavin. So Gavin, remember I said, is Otter. And he basically has a brush of death at the beginning of the book because he's a firefighter. And he has a brush of death, like a big old scare that even everyone in his unit thought he was gone because of how bad this fire was, but he survived, only to get hit by a car on his way to the bar to celebrate his survival. And the person who hit him, he didn't get hit hard. It was like, I mean, his leg did get broken. I'll spoil that for you. His leg did get broken. But the person who hit him was the chief's daughter, Skylar. So I would say that, I wouldn't say it's forbidden love, but like, I don't know what trope I would put this under, to be honest with you. It's because it's not enemies to, it's not fake relationship. I mean, it's not even friends to lovers because she's kind of reluctant at like even being his friend. I don't know. I guess if you had to put it in a trope, it would be like forbidden love, because they both feel like they can't be together because of her dad. Her dad is his boss. And so, yeah. Sorry. I don't talk a lot because I'm here by myself all day. So like, anyway, so basically, what happens is that Gavin has this broken leg and he's bored out of his mind. And so he decides, he talks to the chief, and because the chief is talking about how, you know, he wishes his daughter would get out there and make some friends because she just kind of moping around the house, not making friends, not getting out, not doing much of anything. And so Gavin said, I'm gonna be her friend. And, you know, he's basically told the chief, he said, I promise I will not put my hands in the cookie jar. He literally did say that, actually, to the chief. So anyway, a little backstory of Skylar is she is an author, and her publisher had recently dropped her, and her boyfriend recently cheated on her, and her boyfriend was also her manager, or her, not manager, her agent. And so, you know, she lost her agent at the same time. So anyway, Gavin befriends her, and then she realizes that when Gavin's around, she can kind of zone out and write. And because she was having writer's block, she's had writer's block for about a year now. And she realized when Gavin is around, she can write. She's kind of got her groove back with him around. And so anyway, so Gavin kind of like, just in the beginning of their friendship, like hangs around, and she ignores him while she writes, and he just kind of lays there. And he started reading her books and realized, oh my God, she's such a good author. She writes like gory mystery, basically. So What else can I say about this? Da, 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 da. Oh, okay. So I don't want to give that away though. No. Let's just read the author's notes. The author's note says the wild child of the Bailey clan meets his match in a shy writer who's braver than she thinks. A sexy feel-good story with pranks and shenanigans, Bailey-style brotherly love, a rescue kitten plus delightfully dirty fantasies come true, and a happily ever after that will make your heart burst with sunshine and rainbows. The Bailey Brothers series is meant to be read in order. Start with book 1. And it won't let me open up. It says read more, but it won't let me open it up. Anyway, so that's basically it. I did forget he rescued a kitten. Okay, so the squirrels in this town are super weird, and he's convinced that this squirrel was leading him to this kitten. This kitten was like abandoned in a tree. She was so little, and he rescued her, and he called her Princess Squeaker, and it's the cutest thing. Anyway, and he says that he is her mom. So that was funny too. But and I don't think I mentioned it, but the Baileys play pranks on the Havens, which is like their sworn enemies or something. There's like a feud in the town. The town is divided. I don't think I've ever mentioned that in book 1, but the town is divided. They have 2 of almost everything in the town. 2 barbershops, 2 cafes, 2 restaurants, 2 diners. It's, 2 of basically everything. And so the town is divided, and there's some people in the town that are all about the Baileys and some people in the town that are all about the Havens, and they do not cross lines whatsoever. And so they play pranks on each other, and it's just like fun little pranks. Like one of the things the Baileys did in book 2, I believe, is, maybe it might have been book 1, but I can't remember. It's book 1 or book 2, is they put stickers on all of the signs, like all of the road name signs in the town, but it was always Bailey something, like Bailey Way, Bailey Lane, Bailey Avenue, or so they put stickers on all the signs. Anyway, so yeah, these books are really fun. I like them, but that's me. Next, book 5 is Chasing Her Fire, and this one is about Logan. Logan and Levi are twins, so they're like the 3rd oldest. I don't remember which one of the twins is actually older than the other by minute wise. So anyway, I will warn you, if you read the epilogue in the book 4, it's the same as the beginning of like the chapter 1 in book 5. For some reason, her epilogues are always the first chapter of the next book. I don't understand that, but it is what it is. So I will warn you though, if you skip the epilogue like I do, because I'm like, after I figured out it's the first chapter of the next book, I just stopped reading it because I'm going to read the next book. It starts off very, very spicy. Very, very, very spicy. Okay? I'm just going to warn you right now that it is instant spice in book 5. And that shocked me because I've never, ever read a romance book, like a spicy romance book, where it starts spicy. So I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting that spice. Anyway, book 5 is Logan. Logan is also a firefighter. I should mention that out of the brothers, Logan, Levi, and Gavin are firefighters. Asher could no longer qualify for firefighters because he went to prison. So, again, I don't know if that's just that state, because um, I watch Fire Country, and they're in California, and they do end up hiring prisoners. Like once they graduate, not graduate, but once they finish their sentence, if they were in like the fire training thing while they were in jail or prison, they will hire them. I don't know if it's just a show thing, like, or if that's something that actually happens. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, Logan Bailey. Again, did I tell you the name of it? Chasing Her Fire, 5th book. This one is, let me go to, this one is Enemies to Lovers. And accidental pregnancy. That's not on this, but it is accidental. I remember that being a trope. It might be in a different section. This is just the most popular tropes. I have a list. I'm slowly learning about tropes, guys. I told you guys before, I don't understand the whole thing. It's not my generation's thing, I guess. But anyway, Logan Bailey is a firefighter, and okay, so one night he slept with his nemesis. So enemies to lovers, I already told you guys that. And his mortal enemy, crazy redhead, he loves to hate, Kara Goulding. So basically, here's what happens. Before I read the author's notes. Sleeps with Kara, I don't know how you want to say her name. It's C-A-R-A. I say it Kara. When I'm reading the book in my head, I say Kara, so I don't know why I said Kara. So he sleeps with Kara in drunk, passionate night, and in the beginning, it kind of seems like he doesn't even remember that he slept with her. Like, he has flashes of of sleeping with someone, but he can't see the face. And then then he remembers, basically, but he doesn't go and confront her because she hasn't said anything to him, so he hasn't said anything to her, sort of thing. They kind of keep with their enemy status. Anyway, what was I saying? I completely blanked, guys. Where was I? Logan, blah, blah, blah. Kara, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so Kara does end up finding out she's pregnant, and her best friend Grace, which is Asher's wife, is like, okay. And Kara tells her, it's Logan's and blah, blah, blah. We were both drunk and it didn't mean anything, sort of, kind of like, and Grace is like, yeah, because Grace has, she'll even say it in the book, she's always known that Kara had a thing for Logan, and that the fighting with him was just a defense mechanism she put up to protect herself, because Kara was afraid of loving someone, because her mom has always talked about how crap men were, and men were horrible. And so when she found out she was pregnant, she was convinced that she was going to be a single mother, and that Logan was just going to have nothing to do with her, blah, blah, blah. And when Logan found out she was pregnant, he said that, why don't I move in with you? Because she was having a rough first trimester. And he's like, what if I move in with you now? And move in with you. And then he said now, because I guess he had already planned on moving in with her when the baby was born, even though she didn't realize that. And he said, let me move in with you now. We can get used to living with each other. And that way, when the baby comes, we can tag team this sort of situation. So they're living together and feelings start happening and they become friends with benefits for a while, frenemies with benefits if we're being honest, because she was still kind of like fighting him. And he was all in. Logan knew he loved this girl, right? He knew the reason he was mean to her was because she was so mean to him that he thought the only way he could survive being around her was to be mean right back, because he had feelings for her. Anyway, um, Kara ends up getting into an accident. Her car won't like won't she swerved to miss a deer and it went off kind of like a ravine, and her and the baby were fine, ended up being fine, but it sent her into early labor, which still ended up being fine. And why can't I think today? I was all about making this video. Hopefully you guys can still see me because I kind of scooted down. Hold on one moment. Sorry about that. My tailbone is hurting, and so this has become a problem. Let me know if you've lost like a bunch of weight. Not to like sit here and like be like, oh, I've lost so much weight. If you've lost a bunch of weight, also hopefully this video is not too dark. I just realized I didn't turn the overhead lights on and it's starting to get overcast outside. Squirrel. Anyway, if you've lost a bunch of weight, let me know. If you had horrible tailbone pain, like I read that it happens to people who've lost a lot of weight and that it can last like 3 to 6 months, but I feel like it's already been at least 3 months of this horrible tailbone pain. And I am trying so hard, because one of the things it says is to buy one of those tailbone cushion things where you like basically what are those called, like when you break your butt and you have to sit on a pillow? It's almost like one of those, but it's specifically designed for your tailbone. And maybe that's, anyway, that I don't my brain broken. Anyway, obviously if you break your butt, you're breaking your tailbone, so I don't know where that came from. Anyway, I don't want to buy one of those pillows because they're expensive. Like the one that I would want is expensive. I don't want to get just a donut. I need one that's like when I recline, it will go with the chair, and just, it's a whole thing. Like sometimes I slouch, and I think that's like honestly the most comfortable position for me is when I'm slouching, because it takes the pressure off the tailbone and puts it more on my back. But I can't sit that way for long because my back starts hurting. It's a big thing. Anyway, this is a book review, not a tailbone review. But let me know if you've lost a lot of weight and you had that issue. What did you do, and how long did it last? I'm just curious, because I had to get up my that's why I started slouching, because my tailbone was hurting. And so I just went and grabbed a blanket and rolled it up and put it under my tailbone section, and it helps, but it's like a short-term solution, and it doesn't work when I start to move. I literally have to stay straight. Anyway, author's notes on this book say a sexy firefighter and a sassy redhead who drives him crazy. All the banter, delicious tension, a heartwarming family, and a Kindle melting steam. Enemies to lovers is as hot as it gets, and these two are fire. The Bailey brothers is meant to be read in order, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. I don't know what else I said about it, to be honest with you. It's a really good book. Starts off super steamy, so if you do not like super steamy content, this series is just not for you. Now, this is the steamiest of all of the books. Like, this one is like almost, I thought it was raining for a minute. This one is almost pornography level, if I'm being honest with you. Like, it's right there. So anyway, that's Chasing Her Fire, book 5. The last book of, which I don't know if it's going to be the actual last book just based off the way it ended. I'm hoping there's more. Whether, just even if it's like updates of the family, but I hope it's not the last Bailey Brothers book, because I'm one of those people that, like, I wish book series would continue on and on and on, especially like ones where they're having kids in them, because like I love finding out the whole entire story, like their kids grow up, what their kids do, blah blah blah. I'm just so weird like that. Like, anyway, the last one is Levi, and it's called Rewriting the Stars, and this one is Forbidden Love. It is also Friends to Lovers, and I don't want to say Enemies to Lovers, but like that, because they're themselves are not enemies, but like the community. Yeah. So, and yeah, that's basically it for the tropes. So this one is about Levi. Levi is also a firefighter, which I said already. Book. Oh my god. He's also one of the twins. Logan is his twin brother. And he kind of is turned into the Evan of the family. He is very grumpy. Basically because he's in love with someone he can't have. And I laugh because this book, I'm just gonna tell you right now, it is so Romeo and Juliet, except they don't die. So, and I think that's why I laughed about it, because I've read Romeo and Juliet. Believe it or not, the only Shakespeare book I've ever read, play, it's not a book, Shakespearean play I've ever read was Romeo and Juliet. And ironically, in school we had to read different acts from it, but I read the whole entire book after that, like after our assignment, because we were all assigned an act to like read, memorize, and like recite as part of our literature assignment type thing. But after that, because I could only focus on that at that time, I read that play. Sorry, I'm trying to be proper when it comes to Shakespeare, but that's the only Shakespeare I've ever read. And this book, like, aside from like it's not written in that tone, kind of like, it's definitely, the language is definitely different in this book for sure. Like, it's very modernized. It's not Shakespearean language. So I just want to put that out there. I'm sure you guys have already figured that out, that this is a more modernized book. But when I compare it to Romeo and Juliet, I just want you guys to know it's like not that intense. Anyway, so Friends to Lovers, Forbidden Love, Enemies to Lovers. I know that makes no sense, but it will here in just a minute. So Levi is in love. He's been in love for over a year, but he can't tell anyone. He's in love with this girl that he secretly texts, and he has her in his phone as Juliet. Come to find out, she has him in her phone as Romeo, and it was not like a thing that they decided on together. It's just how it turned out, because they both knew that if their families ever got into their phone and saw, each other's actual names, hell would break loose. So, so he's in love with the girl he shouldn't be in love with, and they text back and forth. They've secretly did this back in high school, and then when she went away to college, their friendship kind of died out a little bit. But when she came back into town, he picked that back up. He reached out to her via text, basically saying, I don't even know if this is still your number, blah blah blah. Anyway, needless to say, he fell in love with, you guessed it, a Haven. Okay, if you remember, I told you there's a feud going on between the Baileys and the Havens, and he fell in love with the only sister of the Haven brothers, because like the Baileys, it seems like the Havens can only have boys. But we find out that, even the Baileys can have girls. So, and you'll see. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, anyway, so there's a masquerade ball. See what I mean? Romeo and Juliet. But it's for the whole town. It's not like a Haven only or a Bailey only situation. It's for everyone, because, it's one of the things. There's very few events that are neutral events where there is no feud, even though there technically is a feud. And so there's a masquerade ball, and that's when Levi decides, I am not having this. I have to end this, what's inside me, this pain of not being able to have her. And he kind of like subtly gestures for her to follow him. They go into a closet, and he kisses her for the first time ever, and they both instantly knew that this was going to be trouble for them, because they both felt that feeling of fire. Anyway, so they like snuck around a little in the town, and then Logan, like Levi finally, well, I say finally confides in his brother, but his brother knew something was going on, and so that kind of forced him to confide in his brother. And his brother said, hey, why don't you guys just get away for a weekend? And that's what they did. Of course, they left town separately, so they drove to this place separately. They went to the coast and got a beach cabin and just hung out for the weekend. And they could go to town together, they could hold hands in town, they could be seen together, and it just felt right to them. And so they had to come up with a plan to be out in the open where they live, because neither one of them wanted to, leave the town that they love, but they also wanted to be together, so they had to figure something out. And so anyway, sorry, something was in my eye. Anyway, yeah, they get back to town, and they're trying to come up with a plan secretly together. And Anika is the girl, or it might be Annika. I don't know. I've been calling her Anika, and I could be wrong, but it's Annika is how they spell her name. And so I've been calling her Annika, but it could be Anika. I don't know. You tell me. So anyway, her brothers ended up finding out because she left something. I'm not going to say what she left out, but she left something out. And they saw it, and they went off. They went off, and there was about to be a war. There was about to be a war. But, needless to say, you know, obviously it's a romance. They end up together happily ever after. So, anyway, author's notes. An intense hero who relentlessly pursues what he wants, and a single mom, which I forgot to mention, she is a single mom. She ended up getting knocked up by some douchebag who signed his parental rights away before the baby was even born. Anyway, small town shenanigans, 100-year-old mystery, a riot of crazy brothers, enough heat to melt your Kindle and your ovaries, and the biggest heart-burstingest happily ever after you've been waiting for. The Bailey Brothers series is meant to be read in order, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, also, the mystery of the feud is solved in this book too. So if you're as invested in the feud as I was, you're going to be happy that it's finally solved. Which it kind of is solved in the previous books. Like, you kind of already figure out what started the feud, but not really. Like, the feud didn't start. Well, actually, no. Never mind. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to give it away. So yeah, that is, hopefully I'm not so close to you that it's weird. That is the last book. But the reason I said that is because they hinted one of them was having twins. Maybe that was in the, I think this one did have a epilogue of the future, but honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember. I just remember like the middle parts of the books. Sometimes I don't pay attention during the epilogues, and I should. Anyway, the next book I read was Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden, and we all know Frida McFadden. And this book, normally I don't like reading. I say I don't like reading Frida McFadden books. I do like reading. The only thing I don't like about her books is they're usually very predictable. This one was kind of predictable, except for there was one twist that kind of threw me. And I was like, oh, I actually didn't see that one coming. So this one is about a housewife, Debbie Mullen, who's actually pretty much a genius. And she writes an advice column for her town newspaper. She's good at making apps for phones. She's just really, really smart. And then she's married to her husband, Connor, who's an accountant, okay? So basically, in the book, I'll tell you, okay, so basically, Debbie is like off her rails at this point. Like, she's thinks something's going on with her husband, so you know, because he's like leaving the house, turning off his tracking thing on the phones, and just acting very suspicious a lot. And then you know, she pumps him up for asking for a promotion at work, and he did that, and his boss said no, and he quit his job. Like, he gave us 2 weeks, and then things just started happening in Connor's life. Like, something happened with his boss, and yada yada yada. So I don't want to give it away because Frida McFadden books are very easily to give away, but like the ending, like honestly did surprise me because like I thought somehow it was going to turn out that she wasn't actually the villain, but I'll give that part away. She is the villain. So she is the villain. Does this one have author notes? No. Frida McFadden says, I am not writing no author notes. But, you know, like any Frida McFadden book, it's a good book. And the ending was actually surprising. Let's see what people are saying. Everyone had Debbie all the way up. Dear Debbie, you are indeed that bitch. Hold on. Okay, I don't know. This one says, what in the Desperate Housewives meets unfiltered female rage did I just read? Because wow. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've read so far. If I finish the Academic Affair, I will be back on here to update you on that. I'm hoping I finish it because like there are 2 more books for this challenge that I'd like to read, but like this book is going so slow. I don't even know how many pages it is. Let's see how many pages it is, because that right there should tell me if I'm going to finish it or not. Book details. 368 pages. I should be able to read that. Anyway. Alright, it's been a few days. Yes, I planned on recording this earlier before I started the dishwasher. And no, I'm not pausing the dishwasher. A good influencer would, but I never claimed to be a good influencer. Anyway, last I spoke to you guys, we just finished Dear Debbie, and since then I have finished 2 more books, and I want to go ahead and jump on here while it's still semi-fresh in my mind and talk about it. So the book I read after Dear Debbie was An Academic Affair by Jodi McAllister. Now, if you remember, I talked about how I thought about DNFing the book, and let's just say that like 2 chapters after I told you that, everything changed. It became a great book. So basically, An Academic Affair is about 2 they call themselves academies. I don't know the word. They're basically professors. And so they go through school together as rivals. So it's basically like friends to lovers, or not friends to lovers, I'm sorry, enemies to lovers. Anyway, so the 2 characters are Sadie Shaw and Jonah Fisher. And basically they are rivals, and during this time, hopefully you can hear me, stupid dishwasher. Anyway, during this time, the job market for their position is basically like very, very, very limited. And so they found themselves going after the same exact jobs. And one day, Sadie ends up getting one of the jobs that they both applied for, and she's kind of conflicted about it because Jonah applied for the job because his sister lives in the area where the university is, and the reason she's so conflicted by it, and she tells her sister that she thinks she's gonna just turn it down because she feels like Jonah was the next on the list, like because it was a short list, and she feels like Jonah was the next on the list. that would have gotten the job, and her sister says, no, absolutely not, you earned this, blah blah blah, because Jonah comes from a very privileged family. His dad is a professor, his brother is also a professor, but not with a full-time. He's like a visiting professor. That they call themselves something else. This takes place in Australia, so like I get the terminology, but I can't remember the exact terminology they used. It was like an academic, it's not academia, it was academic. Anyway, see, I always lose my train of thought when I end up forgetting the words. Anyway, so sister's like, no, absolutely not, blah blah blah. So Sadie said, okay, you're right, I deserve this, I earned it, blah 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 blah. So she gets her teaching contract, and upon reading it, she sees that there is a partner hire thing. So like basically, like if you're married and your partner's in the same field as, or not the same field, but like your partner would also be beneficial type situation. So like they're technically in the same areas. They both teach like literature. Yeah, they both teach literature. So anyway, there's a partner hire thing, and so she goes to Jonah with the thing, hey, let's just get married, and after probation in 3 years, because there's a 3-year probation, we can get divorced. And so I guess it'd be like fake dating as well, even though it's a fake marriage. Anyway, so they go through with it, blah blah blah, right? Anyway, things happen with the university, and it seems like their jobs are in peril. Person that hired them is like no longer with the university, and Sadie knows that if it comes to having to reapply at this point because of who is now in charge of hiring, I really hope you can hear me, because that dishwasher is very, very annoying. I really need to get my office done, because when my office is done, I'll be in there. Maybe I need to put that closer to the top of the list, but it's summertime and I have so many other things. Like I got some garden stuff done. I've been doing canning projects. You'll see all that, or you might have already seen it. Honestly, I don't know. I've been recording it all for you guys, so you will eventually see some of these things. But anyway, so she knows, she knows if they have to go through the interview process again, she will not get the job. So Jonah tells her he is not going to apply. He's going to let her have it because she earned the job. She passed the hiring thing the first time, and that she's right. The reason he has so many opportunities is because who his dad is. So he says he's not going for it. It's all hers. He'll find something else to do, basically. And anyway, long story short, her sister gets involved in it, and her sister's a lawyer, and basically she, goes after the school. A bunch of red tape ends up happening, so they both get to keep their jobs. And like the school like backtracked and said, oh no, their jobs were put in up as a mistake. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was just supposed to be all these other people. But her sister's still not having it. Like, even though her sister's job is now safe, she's still going after him for like trying to get rid of all these other people, because the way the school started, like they basically bombarded the two, Jonah and Sadie, with so much work. Like they have to write all of these lesson plans and stuff like that, and they're not allowed to reuse them, basically. But the school now owns those lesson plans, and they find out later on the reason the school has been having not just them but all all areas, like so even like mathematics, blah blah blah, so all of the areas do their lesson plans like that, where they can't reuse the same lesson plan over and over, is because the school is trying to automate it and make it to where like they don't even have to have teachers. They could just put the lesson plans out there and not even have to worry about not necessarily teachers, but like they can hire like teacher aides or like almost like substitutes. So, and those are a lot cheaper than a full-time teaching person, but they're not allowed to write. They're obviously not going to have lesson plans because they're fill-ins. So anyway, that's the whole point of that part. But it turns out that although they thought, like Jonah reveals that he's always been in love with Sadie, that even before she came to him with like the marriage proposal, he was in love with her, and that he used like this rivalry with her to basically stay one-on-one with her, if that makes any sense. And so he was kind of taken aback by the marriage proposal, and it took him a minute to agree to it because he's sitting there like this in his head. He's like, oh, this is what I wanted, like I not to marry her obviously, but to date her anyway. So then she ends up figuring out along the ways of this fake marriage that she has feelings for Jonah too, and she just didn't realize it because she is so used to everyone leaving her and not, so she tries to like keep everyone away. Basically the only person she lets in is her sister. And yeah, anyway, there's a whole thing with that too, but I don't want to spoil too much. I probably already spoiled too much. But yeah, it's a great book. I ended up loving it, and I see this is just number 1. So I don't know if number 2 is going to be the same characters or different characters, but I really actually ended up enjoying this book. So I'm really happy that I stuck with it and read it. Again, that's an Academic Affair by Joni McAllister. The next book, the one I literally just finished reading today, is called Read Between the Lies. And this one, I only gave this one 3 stars. And I'll tell you why. It was a relatable book, but it was so slow. And there were so many parts of the book that I myself didn't think was very relevant to the whole storyline. But because like the whole time I'm thinking this girl is like schizophrenic or something, like it's gonna turn out in the end that she's a schizo and whatever. But that's not the story at all. Basically this girl is being bullied by another girl in school, and throughout middle school and high school this girl's being relentlessly bullied. And it kind of flashes back to those times because it's present day. She moved away to New York City after she finished school, and she works as a photographer assistant, and she had just written her first book and got a publishing deal. And so she's all happy about that and blah blah blah. And then when she joins like this the debut group for writers, she realizes that her bully is also in this group and coming out with a book, and her bully is like getting like this $7 million contract or something like that, which is unheard of really for a first time novelist. And it's just all these things. She's got people coming from like the UK, all these other publishing houses wanting her books basically. So once her bully realizes she's also on the debut list, she realizes things are starting to go wrong in her life again, and she sits there and goes, well, it can't be her, she still lives way out of the way and blah blah blah, there's no way she's doing all of this. And come to find out her bully is the one doing all of it. In the end, I don't want to give it too much away, but in the end, the girl that's being bullied basically writes an OP that about her being bullied by this person, because this person had just caused her to lose her book deal and everything else. So she wrote an OP saying, look, I don't care if you guys hate me, but it's time that I just finally let this truth out, because I'm tired. You guys are making me out to be the villain, and while I did have like a lapse of judgment for one moment in my life, I didn't deserve what I got growing up. So anyway, that's basically why it got 3 stars, is because it was relatable. But I think honestly the author could have made her not sound so psychotic throughout the book, because, well, for one, she doesn't have any friends. It mentions that in the book. She has no friends, so she basically is constantly talking to herself. But the way it's phrased in the book is the voice told the voice in her head is telling her blah blah blah, which makes her sound like a schizophrenic. And it's like, is she a schizophrenic? Is she not a schizophrenic? And in the end, it's like, once something happens, she's like got all this clarity. She no longer hears voices, and it's like she's been set free type of thing. Anyway, long story short, that's why I got 3 stars, is because there's just some parts of it I didn't think were necessary. Anyway, I'll have another review for you for sure, because I'm listening to an audiobook and it's a very short story, and I think there's only like 30 minutes left in it. But I listened to, oh, this one didn't catch up. I'll have to see where I'm at. But I listen to it when I'm doing things or in the car, and I'm pretty sure I only have 30 minutes left in it. So I will probably end up finishing that tomorrow, but I'm going to start my next physical book, well, on the Kindle, and it's I Know What You Did Last Summer. I have no idea if it's related to the movie or not. I don't think it is, but possibly. And if it is, I'm glad I haven't seen the movie in forever, because then I'll just be mad at the book at that point, because that's what happened when, I don't remember what book it was, but I had seen the movie first because I didn't know it was a book, and then I found out that it was a book. Oh, it was no, it wasn't that one. Anyway, the book ended up pissing me off. So I always recommend, if you're a book person, not to watch the movie first, because you'll hate the book, and vice versa. And not always vice versa, because there are books that I've read where I still liked the movie. So Kiss the Girls is the one that I didn't. I love the book, absolutely love the book. James Patterson is one of my favorite thriller authors, and I actually wish he had more books on Kindle Unlimited, because I would read his books. But they're not on Unlimited. So, but Kiss the Girls, the movie, sucked. It had Morgan Freeman in it, and I thought it was going to be great, but I hated it. I absolutely hated that movie. Anyway, I'm going to let you go, because I have dinner in the oven and I can smell that it is ready to come out. So I will chat with you guys when I finish my audiobook, and if I finish the physical book before the end of the month, which hopefully I should, because I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to read it, and I feel like that's more than enough time. I might actually be able to get another book read. I've been reading so much this month because I've been watching pretty much no TV. I've been only saving TV time for my husband, and I've been mainly reading and trying to do more little things around the house, because I've realized that I put myself in a slump of the house getting really, really messy. So I've just been slowly doing little things every day, and eventually I'm hoping my house will get back in order, because I obviously cannot just clean the whole house in one day. I would never be able to do that. Plus, it would probably cause me a week of debilitating pain, laying in bed, and agony. And so I would rather not do that. And so just little bitty tasks every day help. Like, as you can see, I still have all my canning jars and stuff here that are extra that I need to put up I'm moving all my canning stuff above the stove, which means I have to get on a ladder, and we all know Melissa don't like ladders. So I'm gonna get it done, I promise. And then my very next task, house-wise, is laundry. And you know I hate laundry. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go, and I will see you with the last book updates. Okay, so I just finished the book The Answer Is No by Frederick Backman. And this I read it on audiobook. I listened to it on audiobook because I wanted to see if I could follow along with an audiobook, because there are books, like older books, that I've wanted to read, but like I don't really like the wording. Let me explain it. First of all, I have dyslexia, and so reading in general is just a task, but I've been doing it so long that the longer I read, the better I get at it, basically. There's very few times now that I have to go back and reread stuff, but I also been reading things like the same type of genre, so it's kind of easier. But like there's older books like Wuthering Heights, Sense and Sensibility, stuff like that, where like the language is really hard for me to comprehend. I know this for a fact because in high school we had to read Romeo and Juliet, and I tried to read the play. I did read the play. It just took me a long time to read it, and then I got the cliff notes of it as well, which was still a little hard to understand. And then I watched the movie, which really helped me in the long run, because I knew what was in the book, and then the movie kind of helped bring it all together. And not like the newer versions of the movie, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in it. No, it was the older, like where they're still using that language, basically. I know they use it in the Leonardo DiCaprio one, but it's more of a modern take on it. Anyway, so I wanted to see if I could follow along with an audiobook. So I picked this one just because it was short, and I figured, okay, if I can get through, this one, which the audiobook was 2 hours, I said if I can get through this one, then I should be able to follow along with anything, right? So that's the hopes. So this one again was The Answer Is No, and it's about this guy Lucas who lives in this apartment building, and one day he gets a knock on his door because he gets a knock on the door from the board of his building, and they're basically asking him about a frying pan that was left out. And then somewhere along the lines, he gets nominated as the president of like the frying pan committee or something like that, because it becomes a pile. And so they nominated him for that. But as the pile gets larger and larger, fines occur, and the fines, because they set him as president, get directed to him. So now he's responsible for those fines, yada, yada, yada. In the end, I mean, it was a funny listen. It was funny, but at the same time, it was stupid. It just, like, I don't get the point. I mean, I get the point of the book, but I don't get the point of the book, because one of the characters in the book that you get to know her towards the like end, I guess, is she's a mom, and her family thinks she's in a coma, but the doctor who actually owns the apartment she's staying in basically said, I'm putting you in a coma as far as your family is concerned, and you're gonna go stay at my apartment and just get some R&R, basically, right? Anyway, so she's one of the characters in the book, and so I don't want to give it away too much, but like in the end, basically Lucas comes up with the idea to have the pile disappear. So he gets on Facebook and types into a bunch of different groups that have different belief systems. Like one group, I'll just give this part away. One group believes he's an angel. It explains it towards the beginning, like not the beginning, the mid book. It kind of explains how they got to that conclusion, but like, I don't know. I don't want to give it away. It's just a really silly, stupid book. And at the end, it's basically like the whole thing is that every now and then people just want to be left alone to play video games. And that's the whole premise behind this frying pan situation. And I think the reason the book is called The Answer is No, because every time the board asks him something, he says no, but then they go ahead and do it anyway. Like, they're like, we're going to nominate you as blah, blah, blah. He said no. They did it anyway. We're going to do this. He said no. They did it anyway. So I think that's why the book is named that. But I only rated it 2 stars. It was cute. It was funny, but it was very stupid. And if I had actually physically read the book and not listened to it on audiobook, I would have probably honestly been mad. I don't think I would have DNR'd it or DNF'd it because it's such a short book. I think it was so... Let me see if this says it on here. It doesn't. Oh, yeah, it does. It's only 68 pages. So, also, why is the audiobook so long if it's only 68 pages? Like, I can tell you why. They read so slow. I moved it up to 1.3. Anything above 1.3 was like, it sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I like Alvin and the Chipmunks, but I don't want Alvin and the Chipmunks reading to me. That make any sense? Anyway, like, because Alvin and the Chipmunks, their voice doesn't bother me, but when it's going, that bothers me. Like, I don't need to listen to Alvin and the Chipmunks on speed. And that's what it sounds like. So, anyway, so I'm still reading, physically reading I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it is, in fact, the movie. So, I like the character descriptions are, most of them are different from the characters in the movie, so it is what it is. But I am reading that still. I did not DNF it. I always want to say DNR, like do not read, but and I was saying it for the longest time, but my friend told me that was funny because, you know, DNR also stands for do not resuscitate. And so I have to get used to saying DNF. And anyway, not a big deal. But anyway, the first book I'm going to listen to, the next book I'm audiobook listening to is Wuthering Heights. And so I want to watch the movie. But I've always wanted to read the book, but they use that language that is very hard for me to comprehend. Like, even the Bible, sometimes, I put the newer version, like the one that I know everyone, it's like very conflicted for me because I'm very King James Version type of person. Like, I stand behind King James Version, and even like the New King James Version is still like it was supposed to be easier than the King James Version, but it wasn't, because I think my newest Bible was New King James Version, but the letters are so little I can't read them. So I did put a Bible on my wish list, and if no one buys it for me, I'll just buy it for myself. It's a little pricey. I don't like to spend a lot of money on things. So if I could read the small letters of the Bible I'd already bought, I just keep it. But this one is like a new, like modern like semi-modern wording or something like that, so it's supposed to be easier to read, and it's also like super giant letters, so like I should be able to read it just fine. And in fact, I know I can because we found a super giant letter book at Target, or Bible at Target, and I looked at that and I said, oh yeah, I can definitely read this. But I didn't like the one at Target, like I didn't like the cover at Target. So anyway, not a big deal. I'm still waiting. I guess they changed things on Goodreads, because I remember when I was doing the challenges at the beginning of the year that some of them would cross over into like the next season. But this one, all of them end on June 30th. So I wanted to find ones that ran into July so I could continue just doing the challenges, but they all end in 3 days. So I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is going to be my last read for this month. Because today's Saturday. I will probably, honestly, I've only been sporadically reading it. It's not a bad book. It's just like, I know what happens in the movie, and so far the book's not been exactly like the movie, because I don't remember Barry getting shot, but maybe he did. And I haven't seen the movie in years, like probably when it first came out was the last time I seen it. So I think what I'm gonna do is when I finish the book, I'm gonna watch the movie. So anyway, I'll come back to you when I have another book update. All right, hey guys, so I finished I Know What You Did Last Summer last night. Sorry about my hair. I'm getting a haircut soon, and I'm getting bangs, like, but not blunt bangs. I'm gonna get some curtain bangs. Just my forehead seems like it's turning into like a 6 head. Anyway, not important. I finished I Know What You Did Last Summer last night. And here's the thing. If you like the movie, just know that the book, it is what inspired the movie, but the movie is so much more. There is not a lot of horror in the book, so I gave it 2 stars, because maybe it's because I've seen the movie and I kind of expected some of that anguish from the movie, but like none of the characters in the book died. Helen did jump out of a window. Did she do that in the movie? I can't remember. Anyway, she jumped out of a window. She did live, but like to escape the guy that was trying to kill her. And I don't remember, but in the movie, didn't they hit like a grown man? I'm gonna really ruin this book for you guys, so hopefully you don't want to read it. I feel like in the movie they hit a grown man, and didn't they like throw him over the cliff or something like that? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the movie, but in the book they hit a little boy on a bicycle. But I feel like the point in the movie was they hit a grown man that was wearing a rain slicker, and that's why the guy in the rain slicker was hunting him down with the fish hook. So in the book, none of that happens. It's just they get a couple threatening, well, actually just one threatening letter, not even a threatening letter, just the one girl, Julie, she gets a letter saying, I know what you did last summer. Ray gets a news clipping of the news clipping of what happened. Helen gets a picture of a boy on a bicycle, and Barry, I think the only thing he got was a phone call saying that gosh, I can't think. He only got a phone call saying that they had proof and blah, 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 right? So anyway, sorry, I just woke up not that long ago. And if you see the time on the thing, it's accurate. Anyway, on the microwave, not the stove. Don't ask me what. The power flickered one day and I said, forget it. I don't even care. It's not blinking. That's all that matters. But yeah, the movie is just so much better. So much better. And the book wasn't horrible, but like, I can see why it says it inspired that, because the storyline part where they hit someone and then they just don't talk about it basically is pretty accurate. And maybe even the character names, the descriptions of the characters definitely do not match those of the characters that are in the movies. But yeah, it was a, but that's the last book I'm gonna read for June. The only thing would be is if I get through Wuthering Heights audiobook, I'll come back and talk about that. But I'm not gonna physically read any more books in June. I'm gonna give my eyes a break from reading, which is fine. We all need a little break every now and then, and honestly, I'm 11 books ahead in my reading challenge, so I want to wait to see what's coming up in July to see if there's anything even worth reading on the reading challenges for me before I just go back to my TBR. So I know that some people, like, if I wasn't so far ahead, I would just read books off my TBR, but I'm so far ahead of my challenge that I want to challenge myself by doing some of the reading goals. Does that make sense? Like, kind of spice it up a little. Yeah, I've been watching some book girlies on YouTube, and they play like these TBR games and stuff like that to figure out what their next book read is going to be. And I thought about doing that for August, like coming up with some, like watching some of their videos and come up with some prompts or something like that. But see, I don't have physical books. All mine are on the Kindle. Like, all my books are on Kindle. And then, so my TBR would be on Goodreads. And basically, it would come down to if the book was on unlimited, and if not, how much the book was. Because we only have so much in digital rewards. And I try not to use physical money to buy the books. I know that sounds so bad, but like, I pay for unlimited. I pay $11.99 a month for Kindle Unlimited, and so I try to utilize that as much as possible because I'm already paying for it. So anyway, if I don't come back in here, then you know I did not finish Wuthering Heights, which is very possible because I only put on the headphones for the audiobook when I'm actually doing things around the house. And so other than I have to make Oreo balls today, I don't foresee me doing much else today. Monday is honestly usually my rest day, but I kind of told my husband I was going to make Oreos balls today for him to take to work because I promised his work, Oreo balls for 4th of July. 4th of July is on a Saturday, so I want to give them time to actually enjoy them while at work. So I'm going to make them today, and then they'll have the rest of the week to make them, or to eat them. I don't know how many I'm going to make, honestly. Well, I'm making a double batch because I already have the cream cheese for it, and then I'm going to freeze a bunch of them, not coated in chocolate, and then I'm gonna see how far I get with the chocolate I melt. I think, I'm trying to get rid of this Walmart chocolate. My husband told me that would be just the same as the Ghirardelli, so we bought it just to show him it's not. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put half of that bag plus the bag of Ghirardelli, and then I'll have that for the next time I melt Oreo balls because I have another bag of Ghirardelli baking chocolates. I only use Ghirardelli now, and that's one of my many secrets for my chocolate chip cookies. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I just took the cream cheese out, so I have a while before I can do that. And I hope you enjoyed this. Next month I plan on, and I always say this, but I plan on updating as I read. I think I do better when I kind of get it out of my system right away. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna get up out of bed and come update you guys like, oh my god, I just finished this book, it's so amazing. Because half the time I finish books while lying in bed ready to go to sleep, right? So I can usually I'll wake up and tell you about the book. It is what it is. And then so far I have okay, real quick, I know this video is super long and I'm really sorry about that. I read too much, I guess, because I've watched some other recap videos and these girlies are only reading like 5 books a month. And I get it, they probably have lives outside of reading, and at this point in my life, reading is one of my few escapes. So, you know, I'm bored. I don't have friends that are physically here. I have friends, but not physical location friends. And it's something to do. I'll talk about on another video. I was gonna say my main channel. This is my main channel. Oh my god. Look at me thinking I can handle 2 channels. We tried that, remember? It didn't work. Anyway, yeah, I'll talk about it in a different video is what I meant. Some of my plans for boredom in the future. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Any book recommendations, because I'm always looking for that. Even if it's not on Kindle Unlimited, please recommend it, because we have been getting, I say we, but my husband has been getting a lot of digital rewards, because if he doesn't need it right away for work now, he always does digital rewards for me so that I can buy books that are not on Kindle Unlimited. So I really would appreciate that if you would leave any type of book recommendations for me. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. I will see you guys in August for the July book review.